Oftentimes I see home buyers lose a home and they think it's just because of the price they put on that contract, and it's simply not true. Here in the state of Colorado, you've got 5 significant levers to be able to pull and push on an offer to negotiate. Sometimes you don't have to have the highest offer. Here in Colorado, the real estate broker, myself of course, is going to write the contract on a state commission approved document that our set of attorneys review and revise every single year. We're not an attorney state, so you don't need to pay for an attorney. Number 2 is going to be your earnest money deposit, otherwise known as the refundable deposit. If you legally exit the contract, you get that money back in full in almost every situation. Most sellers are going to be asking for 1% of the purchase price to be held in an escrow account with the title company for that earnest money deposit. However, we can increase that up to 3%, and a lot of times that looks like a stronger offer to a seller. Number 3 is going to be closing timelines. In most situations for most sellers, the shorter the closing timeline, the stronger your offer is going to be. I've got one massive hack to help you negotiate at the highest levels coming at the end of this that has to do with closing timelines, so stick around for a minute. Number 4 is going to be your contingencies. What I mean by that is your inspection, your appraisal, your loan, your title. Each one of those sits with a different set of dates and deadlines. The sooner we can knock those out in the contract, meaning the shorter timelines we have to do those, the stronger the offer is going to be. Oftentimes we can get a home inspector out of the property in 2 to 3 days after going under contract. So if we put our inspection timeline to be at 10 days, that's considered on the normal shorter end of things. However, we still have plenty of extra time for our due diligence regarding any and all inspections. Now that said, on a case-by-case basis in certain situations, and keeping you safe in the process of doing so, I will suggest waiving certain of those items. There's a lot to that. It's a case-by-case basis and a home-to-home basis. Anyhow, let's jump into number 5. And this is the one that nobody really uses the right way, and they don't negotiate for their buyers and educate their buyers enough the right way before writing a contract, and that's seller concessions. What that means is, let's use an example of $10,000. If we have $10,000 in seller concessions, what that $10,000 can get used for is buying a lower interest rate. It's important to know what you can use those for before going under contract so you're educated and know every step of the way. Sometimes we can use those things for repairs for the seller. Sometimes we can use that money to reduce your out-of-pocket expenses at the closing table. There's a lot of different ways to use them, and again, it's a case-by-case basis as to what's going to make most sense. Again, why it's so darn important to hire the right team up front so you know exactly how to negotiate. You made it this far, you owe me one thing. You owe me a like on this page. And also, if you found this helpful, go back to that channel. I have so much useful information. And I've got a ton more on the website. Click that link down below as well. So that one huge hack that most people miss and most real estate brokers miss is this, called post-closing occupancy. What that means is the seller stays in the home, they occupy the home post-closing. So after closing, that seller gets to stay in the home. Sometimes it's 3 days to 7 days, sometimes it's even a month or 2 after closing. Now, your first mortgage payment is going to be typically 45 to 60 days after closing. So in a lot of situations, there's not much or very little cost to the home buyer in order to have the seller stay. What's the advantage to them, you ask? Well, they get their lump sum of cash. Now they can pay for movers, pay for people to pack their home, and have that peace of mind to be able to take their time to move into that next property instead of feeling extremely rushed. Especially in those situations where we can have a short closing window, they can get their money, they can stay in the home for a couple of weeks, move out, have that peace of mind of the deal is done. That is a massive, massive hack when used the right way. Again, situation to situation. Happy to help negotiate that and walk you through it home to home, in house to house, seller to seller, and around your situation as well. Anyways, I cannot wait for this next video. It's going to be phenomenal.